Hello, my name is Rebecca Stanton. I am a literacy specialist and I'm presenting my proposal for a literacy workshop for content area reading and social studies for Queens Middle School of Civic Leadership. And I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about what I'm hoping to present at this workshop. And I'll turn my camera off now and continue with my proposal. So the first thing I'm going to plan to do is, address the issue that I know history teachers often don't consider themselves to be a reading teacher. It's very common for history teachers to see themselves as experts in the area of history and social studies, not as reading teachers. So my first activity will help resistant members understand the ways in which they're already experts in reading the content in their field, and while the second activity will help them see the importance of teaching literacy skills in a social studies classroom and the specific ways in which social studies is a content area that has specific genres and therefore specific skills that are associated with success in the field. So I'll start off by having teachers identify the reasons why they became history teachers. They're going to do that by working in small groups to list their reasons. They'll share out these reasons to the whole group. And I'm assuming the possible reasons they will give are something like that they love the subject, they're fascinated by history, they love digging deeply into historical documents and primary source documents, not because they love teaching to the regents. Nobody loves that. But because of the way in which we're held accountable, we often feel just really tied to that test. However, what I would like to have them think about is how they most likely got into teaching history because they wanted to share their passion for history with their students. As Tavani states in her book, Smoky Hill High School teachers don't see ourselves as reborn reading teachers. We're simply trying to help kids get the skills they need to understand and learn about the content we as teachers care passionately about, whether it's the roots of viral infections or the causes of war in the Middle East. So what I'll first have them do is identify the types of reading they do as history professionals, as history specialists, social studies specialists. So you're going to do a turn and talk about the types of reading they do for pleasure. They'll list those types of readings with their peers, and then they're going to share out this list to the whole group. And we'll be posting this list up in the classroom to refer back to later, because that'll be really important when we're thinking about the type of things that we're going to need for the classroom library. And then they're going to be doing another tune and talk about the types of reading they did as a history major. I'm assuming the possible list is going to be primary source documents, secondary source documents, scholarly monographs, articles, historical documents, etc. The types of things that people that love history and love social studies are going to read. And the purpose for this will be to help them to see the different types of genres that are common in their field and to help them understand that they're already highly skilled readers in this area and that there are specific types of genres that they're going to need to help their students understand. The next activity will be, this is the second activity I'm using to try to convince them to learn more about reading strategies, is going to be to show them the connection between literacy and history. There's a great article that they're going to read. They're going to read this in small groups, and then they're going to list the key points of the article in their small groups, and then we will list those key points on chart paper and share them out with the whole group. And from this article, there was a quote that really stood out. Doing history requires reading many genres of text, from presidential proclamations to private letters to political cartoons. It includes reading images and video, objects, and art. It includes analyzing primary sources for perspective and reliability, and secondary sources for argument and supporting evidence. True content area literacy in history requires students to learn reading and writing strategies that are specific to history. And so that'll be really clear there that there are specific skills in literacy that history teachers need to impart to their students. And so what we're going to be doing in the next section of our workshop is learning some of those strategies. about how we can best help our students have access to the text that we want them to read. And I want them to understand, remember that they are highly skilled readers in social studies. And if they want their students to become better readers in their content area, they're the ones that are best set to teach them. And there's a quote by Tovani where she talks just a little bit about that, how teachers of any subject are going to help their cause by teaching their students to be better reader of their content. Because the language arts teachers are always overburdened by their content too. So those history teachers need to teach their literacy skills. So the other thing that I'm going to do is that we're going to be setting this up. It's really important for them to understand a few basics about teaching literacy. They have to understand a little bit about text complexity of the text that they're creating, and the varying literacy levels in their classes. So what I'm going to plan to do is hopefully get them to get a list of the literacy levels of the students in their class right ahead and get that list from the principal. And if I can't get that, I'm going to get like a hypothetical list of students from my own classroom that shows that my students are reading from a second grade level to up to a ninth grade level in the sixth grade. And I think that's very common in schools in New York. We have wide ranges of literacy levels. And the other thing is that I want them to understand, and this will be done in the context of teaching them how to create a classroom library. And then we'll be doing some activating prior knowledge and background knowledge through an activity for front loading of images and through anticipation guides. So for the very first activity, they're going to be working to build a classroom library of both historical fiction and nonfiction texts. And I want them to understand that if they want to help their students develop content area reading skills in social studies and history, we need to make sure that they have a wide range of materials to select from. And the best way for teachers to do that is to develop a rich, wide-ranging classroom library that appeals to varied student interests and reading levels and a lot of student choice. So the method I'm going to use to do that is they will go back to that list that they created of reading materials that they themselves read as adult readers in their content area, because we want to get kids to be able to do that too. We want it to provide kids with the opportunity to get excited about texts and to read the types of readings that we're doing as adults, of course, that are appropriate for their reading levels. So there's this quote in our book, Subjects Matter. It says from page 68, it says, "What range of genres, styles, lengths of text, and so forth are we looking for? One answer to this question is to notice what the thoughtful, curious members of the surrounding adult community are reading. Among your local lifelong learners, what's in the literacy diet? Probably you'll find that these thinking grown-ups read from a wide range of genres and assorted situations and for various purposes." So that's what we want to get our kids to do too. So some of them might say, "Oh, that's why we have textbooks." And I just will point out some of the reasons that it states in Subjects Matter about why that might be a problem. Their textbooks are too superficial. They cover too many concepts. They don't go into depth. They're hard to read. They're very dense. There's a content overload and very high text complexity. They're badly designed with too many graphics and features, and they can be overwhelming. And they're authoritarian. They don't show the multiple perspectives that are really needed for us to be good historical thinkers. And they might even have inaccuracies. There was a little anecdote that was shared in our book that was the Black Plague was perhaps caused by virus, not rats. So there's always something that we can look at in those primary source documents. So in order for us, the first thing we want to make sure that we understand is just a little bit about the varying literacy levels of students in the classroom. And we're going to need to know a little bit about, I'll be sharing with them a little bit about Lexile ranges, grade level ranges, and they'll be looking at the kids that they have in their classroom and then trying to match them to some of the texts that we'll be looking for in some of the sources that we have. And then according to the simple view of reading, we understand that students will not be able to understand the text they cannot decode. So we must ensure that we have texts that are at their appropriate reading level to ensure comprehension. So the first thing we'll do the method I'll be using is they'll jigsaw out assigned paragraphs of subject matter and focus or expert groups, and then they're going to come back together to share the key points of these paragraphs. And each group will share out their key principles in a collaborative manner so that we'll understand kind of what kind of things we're looking for in a classroom library. And there might be possible shareouts such as like allowing for student choice, student interest, having a range of fiction and nonfiction, including classics, contemporary texts, or current events topics, maybe balancing hard versus easier texts and short versus long, having primary source and secondary source documents, having a wide range of points of view represented on high interest topics, etc. Another point is that they need to understand that a good way to develop a rich classroom library is to identify a few key concepts and link your teaching to these across the year, rather than lightly covering an endless list of facts and factoids. That was from Subjects Matters, page 67. Some of these might be, for example, what it means to be an American, race in American society. And one of the ones that's really popular with my students is about youth activism and change. So I will provide them with a wide range of social. So it's important for them to understand that there should be a wide range of social studies reading. I'm going to bring in some stuff from my library because I have a plethora of high interest content area readings that are at lower lexile levels. And then I'm going to be highlighting a few of these texts. So the first activity they're going to do is to look at one of these, two of these different texts that are created by National Geographic. There's one by Language, Literacy, and Vocabulary, and these are both the same level. That are much lower literacy level, but they're high interest. And they're going to look at it. What do they notice about these texts? What aspects of the text make it easier to read and understand the content? And how might texts like these help build both content knowledge and academic vocabulary? So those are some of the things I'll be doing with that. This is just a list of some of the different types of, I like to use children's literature in my classroom, and children's literature is very evocative because it has beautiful pictures and really high quality writing. And this is some text I have in the young activist theme. Here's some more from the young activist theme. And I also pull NewsELA articles that I've modified and added pictures to on different topics like police brutality, climate change, and have young people that are talking about or that are activists in those areas. Then I have a text set for Long Walk to Water that has the novel itself, and then different children's literature and other stories like graphic novels. And there might be, I might show them how to use picture books to connect to a topic or theme in social studies. And then I also have some other that are a little bit high level. These are published at 3 different reading levels, so students can collaborate. And then there's, for example, these are really high interest areas like global issues. And then, like I said, the language, literacy, and vocabulary. All of these are all available in both English and Spanish. And there's some inside, so you can see the text features and things they have in them. Lots of different sources. And then what I want to do is just walk them through how to actually find. So I would have them go to NewsELA and see that they can actually find topics like in social studies and find things that are at different literacy levels. And I don't know that they all know how to do that, but you can see that, it can be at different lexile levels. So I'll walk them through that. And I'll also walk them through that with ReadWorks, which you can find different texts at different lexile levels, and they pull up on all kinds of things in history. Here's one in World War I and the Great Depression, for example. So what I want to have them do is understand some of the issues if they're going to be modifying their own text. I would talk them through that. To have them create their social studies text set, then they're going to work together in small groups. They're going to brainstorm a couple of ideas for creating text sets, and then I'll have them pull out text sets from Newsela and ReadWorks, and I'll be supporting them as they're doing that. The second activity would be a front-loading of images activity. This is powerful because it helps build background knowledge for a new topic or text. It's entirely visual, everybody participates, and it sparks interest and engages learners quickly in thinking about the topic. So I have a quote here that I will share from Daniels and Zellman about how these front-loading activity is powerful because it pulls in everyone. Everyone can view and study and talk about and draw inferences from about images printed on a text. So I'll just show them through. I'll show them these different images that I pulled out for the Long Walk to Water activity that I'm doing with my students. This was really popular for my students, and they loved this. It was the best lesson I had all year. It really helped activate their prior knowledge and background knowledge. And then I have another one that's about endangered animals. So I'll be sharing these with the teachers. Then the last activity that I'm going to have them do is just walk them through creating a text set anticipation guide. And I have a quote by John Piaget. And the teachers, to create an anticipation guide, they select 3 to 5 statements, and then they respond to them by either disagreeing or agreeing, or yes or no. And the important thing about this is that it allows students to engage with the big ideas of the text before they start reading. And often teachers would revisit this with their students at the end, so they see how they've changed. I would provide resources from Facing History, and there is Read, Write, Think, a template for them to use. And what I would do, the method for teaching this is I would share this information in a Google slide presentation, and then they'll work together in small groups to create some anticipation guides together with my support. There's also a video that they can watch that shows them this procedure. And then I'll share my anticipation guide I created. And as I said, they're going to work together in small groups to create their own statements and share them out so that each other can get feedback and receive feedback. So my conclusion is, I think this literacy workshop will help social studies teachers see the importance of teaching literacy strategies. It'll help them to recognize they're already highly skilled readers in their field, and it will give them some tools they can use to begin to use to infuse literacy strategies in their classroom. My name is Rebecca Stanton, and you can reach me at stanton@mychild.org. And thank you so much for your time.